What is up, NFL fans? Welcome back to another episode of The Way We See It. I'm Jeff Hartman, joined by my only friend in the world, Wesley Coleman. What's up, Wesley? How are you?
I'm good, man. This is this is the dead of nothing going on.
This is
Like
April, though. By
we're
the
right in the
time
middle.
this podcast drops, it is draft month. Like we're at least in the same month.
We're getting there. It's
We're
close.
it is a grind. It is an absolute grind. There's so much excitement. There's so much build up to this event. It is a grind for sure.
I hear
But
you're supportive of the Steelers drafting a guard in the first round.
yeah, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. Hey, you got to solidify the trenches, man. Like that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about what's being discussed in NFL circles as we put ourselves into that category. The NFL league meetings are in Arizona. I think they're wrapping up, and there are some really big NFL based topics happening out there. And I think the largest one that is not getting covered as much as I would think, and it's because the NFL is going to want to control all those narratives, is the pending strike with the Referees Association. I feel like we're going down that same road that we did in 2012 when it took the Fail Mary on Monday Night Football between the Seahawks and Packers to get the officials back. What we know right now is the NFL is planning on hiring both Division 1, 2, 3, and even high school officials as kind of, if you want to call them scabs, to go across the picket lines. And there's I think a May 31st deadline on their negotiating agreement. So real quick though, what do you think about what's happening so far in these negotiations?
Well, so there's a few things. I actually think this is one of the times the NFL's being pretty fair with what they're asking for the officials. I think average NFL official right now is making $385,000 a year. I think
Oh,
is what
that's
it
it.
is. And they're wanting a 6.5% increase year over year. The NFL's wanting to offer this 6.5% increase. They're wanting more levels of accountability with referees, and they want to make sure that senior officials are not getting the playoff games, but it's the best officials are getting the playoff games. Supportive of all that kind of stuff. And they're wanting them to have a shorter offseason, basically more training, more rules training, and then stuff like that. There's a lot that I don't understand with NFL referees. I don't understand why we need everybody to be over 55 years old, or so many of them. Well, we can hire women that are younger than 40, but not, men that
Right.
have gotten out of football. There's a lot of that I don't understand. I do think there's some difference. I think a lot of people are scared because of what happened the last two referee strikes when they were terrible, or the lockouts, including 2012. I think there's some differences this year. One, the NFL messed up last time by not bringing in the replacement officials very early. They're talking about right now, May 1st, they're going to start training replacement officials. That's
Yeah.
before the May 31st deadline, they're going to start training people. Also, they're talking about, if they do this, they're going to rely a lot more heavily on replay assist from external sources than they ever have before. And I like that. I actually maybe want replacement referees with more help from cameras and replay than I want with the experienced officials. Like, I want to get play calls right. I don't
Get it.
care about how, if it takes an extra 15 minutes, not per play, but for the whole game, I want the plays to be called right. So if this gets us to more replay, I mean, what do you think? I mean, I get it. I get this how bad the officials were in 2012. But
Well, yeah. The
overall, is this better?
first and foremost, and I do want to dive into that replay thing because that's the caveat that a lot of this hinges on. A lot of fans, NFL fans, are saying we just need full-time officials. Let me make something very clear: the officials don't want to be
Not
full-time.
interested. Not
Not interested. They all have full-time jobs. Like I do this weekly for steelcurtainnetwork.com. I look at the crews and you look at their occupations. Some of them are lawyers, financial consultants. It's a gambit of jobs. There's middle school principals who are also NFL officials. So they don't care about full-time. I think that's a lot of people's knee-jerk reaction to say, well, just make them full-time. They don't want to be full-time. So that out of the way. The fact that a proposal was made, and this was only for 1 year, but I really do feel like it's opening up Pandora's box here, Wesley, is if there's a play that is made and it's what they deem egregious, missed call, they can then wire down, phone in, whatever you want to call it, and say, nope, that was pass interference. Can you imagine let's say it's the Saints and Falcons in a really big NFC South matchup late in the season. The officials are still locked out, and we've got the new guys and gals in there. And all of a sudden, you see a bomb to Chris Olave, and he catches it, and the place is going berserk. And it's, wow, what a touchdown. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, a flag gets thrown on the play because they call him for offensive pass interference, saying he pushed off. Could you imagine?
Yeah, and I don't expect that it's going to be offensive pass interference calls or.
But still, it doesn't matter. Like, it's the moment. Like, in that moment, that's what they're talking about potentially being able to do. I'm with you. I want the calls to be right, but I don't know if I want to go down that road either.
For sure, I can see it for sure. I just think that there's a lot of issues going on with the NFL officials because of the PTSD of the last time when replacement officials were bad. They've been a very powerful organization of keeping they don't get fines when they mess up. Everybody else in the NFL can be fined or ridiculed or suspended, but these referees get away with anything, no matter how bad their job performance is. And then if you've been doing the job for a long time, you get the playoff games and the Super Bowl and stuff like that. So I like that there's going to be some changes. Also, they're wanting to change the probationary period for referees from 3 years up to 5, and the referees are pushing back on that. Like, anything that holds them accountable or makes them have to be good at their job in order to stay employed, they're trying to push back on. And I don't think the NFL is going to, give on this at all. I think the referees are going to have to completely come off of everything that they're asking for.
I agree with everything you said. And it's not, this is not an NFL is in the wrong and they're trying to be big brother and they're bullying the little guy. Like, that's not what this is just negotiations. And I'm a firm believer that, and I've been a part of union negotiations when I was still teaching, man, it takes until the last hour until you actually get a deal done. It's like when you're up against the wall.
Deadlines make deals.
Yes. Deadly. Very good. Thank you. But let's go back because I just can't get over this replay assist thing. Do you think that if the NFL has replacement officials and they are going to rely on replay assist in 2026, at least if they don't get a deal done, do you think that the NFL memo to these replacement officials is, when in doubt, throw the flag? Because it's easier for us to pick it up than it is to say you missed it and now we're going to throw it. So in other words, it's a roughing the passer that's very questionable. Did he land on him? Did he try to get off? Throw the flag. And then replay assist could say, no, that wasn't pick it up, that we're just taking that away. What do you think about that?
No, I don't think they'll do that. I think though we'll do the don't blow your whistle until you're sure that everybody has stopped playing kind of stuff. I think the blowing the play dead, which they should be doing that with the regular referees.
Yeah.
I think that their intention is to train these people correctly. And you're not going to convince me. Listen, when we have replacement referees, every call that's wrong, people are going to be like, this is the worst it's ever been. I bet when we go back after like the first 4 weeks of the season, if they're replacement referees, we can compare it to the first 4 weeks of last season. It's not very much worse.
That was my next question. Can it get worse?
No, you can't tell me we can't get younger, more athletic people with better vision and better hearing that are less sensitive to curse words. And I don't think it's going to get worse. I mean, there's only so many rules that you have to memorize or know or be able to react. And I get it. There's a speed of the game that you have to adjust to. But if they're going to start that now, like
you and I are on the same page. Officiating in the NFL sucks. Like, it sucks for a really long time. And so when people are thinking, unless we go back to, and I like how you brought up that they're going to train these individuals and they're going to give them time. Now, unfortunately, and they'll have training camps and preseason to really get out there and try to get used to game speed in the NFL, which is difficult. But still, if you train them properly, I don't think it can get worse. There are botch calls in every single NFL game where you and I are talking every single week saying, can you believe that?
Right.
Can you believe that call was blown?
This isn't a new thing.
Yes. I don't think it can get worse.
I mean, and are we like missing the most important thing? Like, if the best high school referees are in the NFL, like, what's going to happen to the high school game? It's going to be dads and uncles just refereeing out there. I don't know. How bad's the high school football game going to get?
That's rough. That's a local problem. I mean, I will say this, my only hesitation, and We'll talk about whether we think a deal gets done. The replay assist scares. I feel like that's Pandora's box. Once you go down that road, I wanted to get it right too, but I just feel like when you think about the flow of a game, I mentioned that like the Olave touchdown against the Falcons. I just couldn't imagine that happening. I don't think it would, because when you think about when they allowed defensive pass interference or pass interference to be a challengeable call, I want to say that year there were only like 2 that were actually
right.
overturned.
Yeah, it was not a big deal at all. Didn't happen. I will say this. I think that unless the referees come all the way to what the NFL wants to do, there's no way this deal gets done. The referees' entire negotiating strategy is let these replacement referees get in there and hope that they're bad. That's they have nothing else that they can stand on. They're not going to get any concessions from the NFL unless the replacement referees are terrible.
Yeah, which is what happened in 2012 when the mistake Hail Mary.
We've got more guardrails in place now.
I would hope. I mean, we've been down this road before, and we actually have more technology accessible to us now. Let's start to use it. Let's do it in the right way. Ultimately, we all want the same thing. We want the game to be less about the officials and more about the on-field play.
For sure.
All right, man. In Arizona, which they've moved it out west, there's a lot of other news going on. What did you want to talk about? Shedeur Sanders switching his number? Is that the big news, or no?
He got rid of a 1. He's went from 12 to 2. Was that going to be the highest selling jersey in the AFC North this year?
Before we go to the other topics, how pissed would you be if you're a Browns fan and you bought a Shedeur Sanders jersey and now all of a sudden it's useless? I hate when players do that. If you do it your rookie year because the number that you wanted was a veteran had it, and then they get cut or they get traded or whatever, and then you take that, that's different.
Yeah,
I don't like that. Anyways,
I'm not a fan of it either. With you.
Go ahead.
So I mean, there's a bunch of stuff going on. Like we're also talking about the NFL owners meetings going on. We've already had a few public statements about the 18-game season, and the NFL owners are not saying a whole lot because I think they've been told what's going on with the negotiations with the players. That's going to go over the next few years. They're getting ahead of it. I think that 2031 is when it's going to expire. I think we have a new deal before next season, the 2027 season starts. I think both sides are going to be pretty motivated.
You're telling me that you think they are going to get to the bargaining table.
This is going to be one of the few times they get a deal done before.
Wow. That I would be stunned. I wouldn't be upset, but I'd be stunned if that happens.
Me too, but there's so many things going on with the dynamics of the league and the amount of money. One, the money is split 50-50 between players and owners, but the owners absorb 100% of the costs of running the league.
Yeah.
And unless there is a way to increase that bigger part of the pie, the owners are not going to do the 50-50 split anymore. And the NFL Players Association, everybody wants to talk about how powerful it is but it's not, because the average player plays less than 2 years in their NFL career. So it's just whenever the vote's done, the majority of players are voting for their paycheck right then and for how they're going to be maintained after their 2-year career is over. And so you just don't have Tom Brady's not the average NFL player voting on here's how much money I have and here's how long I can hold out and here's what I want for the rest of my life. They don't get that. And the game is becoming so expensive from the owner's perspective. The 50-50 split's not staying unless there's a big buy-in to an 18th game. There's a big buy-in on the international market. And then these secondary ways that they're looking to make money, like starting the flag football league, like that's a real thing that's full on going now.
Yeah.
They're going to have to find ways to bring more money into the NFL so that split stays 50-50. And I think that's going to be the most important thing to the players. As much as they don't want an 18th game, they want the 50-50 split more than anything.
Well, what do you think about the proposed, you bring up the 18th game, which is going to be a big sticking point.
For sure.
The proposal that I've seen, and maybe you saw something different, was that you add an 18th game, you get 2 bye weeks, you eliminate a preseason game. Right. So now you're down to 2. And every team plays an international game once a year. You like that setup?
Love it.
Really?
It's the way to go.
I mean, if you're going to go 18, that's the way to go. And I really hope that it stops at 18. If they go to 18, you can't go any more than that. Like we can't eventually have a 20 games.
That's when they really have to start building what they're doing in these international markets and all that kind of stuff. It's
It's going to be really interesting. I do believe there's legislation going on right now with the NFL and some of the streaming deals that they're doing, the antitrust laws and stuff. Like that's going to play a role in this too, because they do have a couple deals that are expiring soon where they can cash in as they always have. And they're looking to also expand their streaming options. I know YouTube, just not done YouTube TV, but YouTube itself wants to host more games. They're willing to pay top dollar for that. The NFL is saying, hey, the highest bidder wins. It's just like when AT&T and DirecTV, they lost Sunday Ticket. YouTube TV gets it. That all equates to the salary cap. That all equates to that 50% pie. It's going to be interesting. I don't think there's anything stopping unless it's a work stoppage, the 18 game schedule. Do you agree or disagree?
I don't think we're stopping at all. And I think what's going to solve all this, these next TV deals are going to be crazy.
Yep.
Like we saw that as soon as the old TV deals that we thought were crazy were signed, we realized that they weren't big enough. The people actually underpaid what look crazy numbers. And what's going on with NBA and the kind of money that they're making per game is way more than the NFL. It's crazy. And they got so many more games. So I think adding the 18th game and then the TV contracts are going to be pretty ridiculous.
I hope that they get to the negotiating table before this CBA expires. And like you said, the owners want to get this 18th game. I know that Robert Kraft openly said that was on the agenda that they wanted to talk about. Irsay, the female owner that the son of Jim Irsay, who passed away last year, daughter, there you go. She said that she also wants the 18th game. I don't know. The international stuff is what gives me pause. And let's go into Italy. What's going on in Italy?
The Saints and Browns have got the rights to explore Italy, which I think is great for the Saints because that means they have no competition. And that's pretty awesome. And then there's also like obviously the NFL schedule hasn't been released yet, but I do know that in late October the Saints and Browns are going to be playing in Paris. Kind of pairing that with them both getting Italy, I think it's going to be a big deal. And there's quite a few of large countries that have been handed out, and there's teams pairing those away and all. I think there's a lot of jerseys to sell there. Sure. More streaming rights that are going to come in the future and all that kind of stuff.
It's just getting fans to acknowledge the game over there. And I know in Ireland at the Steel Curtain Network, where, the website we run, I actually just brought in a writer from Ireland who talks about how people outside of the Super Bowl in Ireland have no clue about the NFL. And even when they watch it, they don't even know what they're watching because they just aren't familiar with it. They haven't been exposed to it. Getting that exposure is going to be huge. I do want to ask, as we're talking about international games, what did you think about the setup to start the season, which I do believe Seattle's going to kick it off? Did I read that right, on a Wednesday?
I didn't even look at it, honestly.
I think it's Wednesday is Seattle opening up the season, and then Thursday is the Melbourne, Australia game between the Rams and 49ers. Let me look that up. But if that's the case, what's your take on that?
Hey, let's get some football. I want it early. Let's get some football. I don't like Wednesday night football, but
what do you think about a game in Australia, which is just wild?
I think that's awesome. I think it's fun.
A division game?
Who cares?
I don't like that.
It's early in the season.
Well, who's the home team in that game? Who's losing that home game? A division game. That's big.
They're getting highly compensated.
Oh, I know that. I'm not saying like, oh, poor players. I'm saying in terms of the overall scheme of the league.
Yeah.
If I'm the Rams and I'm losing my home game.
The Saints are the home team in Paris against the Browns this year.
Right. Last year, Pittsburgh was the home team in Ireland versus Minnesota, which I feel like. And again, man, this is the way I just get used to the schedule, 17 games and how they do everything. If they go to 18, it's going to be wild to think about.
We just changed to 17.
I know.
I still know some people. They're like, yeah, I think we're going to go 10-6 this year. I'm like, we are not.
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to look up the
on the TV contracts too. People listening to this might be going like, the NFL just announced new TV deals with CBS and Fox, and you're right, they do. They have deals in place through like 2032 and 2033. But what they're doing is they have opt-outs of after the 2029 season. And what the NFL is doing is going back and saying, we're going to opt out in 2029 unless you give us a new contract before 2026.
Yes.
Like they're going like, we're telling you we're going to opt out, and we're going to go talk to other people unless you want to extend your contract now. Because they realized they sold too low, which
Wow, they're flexing. They're flexing their proverbial muscle too, and they're like, "Look,
and it's
you
gonna
have
work.
nothing. You have
CBS,
nothing without."
They're gonna do CBS first, and then immediately go to Fox, and
Yeah,
they're gonna get new deals with both of them.
All right, so here's what we have. The 2026 NFL season will kick off on Wednesday, September 9th, with the defending Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks hosting the opening game. They don't have the opponent yet at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time. It's an unusual Wednesday start, followed by the first ever regular season game in Australia, be the 49ers and Rams on Thursday, September 10th. That'll be at 8:35 p.m. Eastern Time, but it'll be Friday morning in Australia.
Yeah.
That's wild. I think it's cool. I'm fine. The more days you give me football, I'm not going to complain. The NFL is the only sport that I will watch no matter who it is. The only sport. I'm not watching some random ass baseball or hockey game unless the Penguins and Pirates are playing. NFL, Titans, Jaguars. Yeah, I'm watching. I am. I'm not going to lie.
What would you think of so I wouldn't mind a preseason game being over there purely because I don't like that season ticket holders have to pay regular game price for preseason games. I've always hated that. But if you're talking about the people over there that don't know the difference, why not do a preseason game over there? Would you be a fan of if the Steelers did, let's say, 2 weeks of their training camp is in Germany, and then they play a preseason game in Berlin or whatever?
They used to do that, and I think it was 1998. The Steelers played the Bears in Ireland, and that was the last time they had a game. It was a preseason game in Ireland, and the Irish people are like, "What the heck is this?" They're not used to it, and so I would be cool with preseason games moving around, although there would probably be a lot of logistics. I'll tell you what else came to light is that the next Super Bowl location, we have 2027, 2028, now 2029 is known. That Super Bowl is going to be held in Las Vegas, which is a dome stadium. Congratulations, you get your wish. But the rumor is that in 2030, Nashville could get it. That's an outdoor venue. You don't like that, probably.
No, so I'm not sure of that. I think Nashville's a great city to have a Super Bowl in, which is good. And so they've got a new stadium coming in 2028. And I don't know if you know this, but your stadium has to be 2 years old before it can host a Super Bowl.
Okay.
So that's kind of why SoFi is coming back around, Allegiant, all that kind of stuff. But Nashville, 2030 is kind of the projected thought there. And then maybe 2031 is when you're talking about maybe Washington would get it. And then it depends on when the Chiefs stadium is a couple, 2030 or 2031. So you've got a few kind of in the pipeline of new stadiums coming and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, Nashville's fine. I do prefer an indoor stadium. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, you talk about even eventually Cleveland's going to have a dome. They're going to want a stadium. The Bills, is that going to be retractable?
I know that the Denver one's going to have a roof. I'm not sure if the Bills one is.
The Bills, I know
Buffalo's never getting a Super Bowl.
No, Orchard Park just can't. It doesn't have the infrastructure. But I think the fans are always covered. It's the field that's not. Okay. So that's interesting.
And then we're like, Jacksonville's doing a $300 million renovation, but I don't think they're ever doing a Super Bowl in Jacksonville again after the cruise ships fiasco, because they don't have enough the infrastructure. Right. So they brought in all the cruise ships for hotel rooms, and that was terrible. So I think that even with that,
why would they put that much money into renovating a stadium? They're going to be the London Jaguars eventually. Hey, anything else from the owners meeting you wanted to bring up?
Well, you kind of bringing up those two things together. You, how upset are you going to be if and when we ever have an international Super Bowl?
I don't care. I'm not going.
Yeah, I think that would be terrible.
Here's Jeff's view on international stuff. How does it impact my life? I'm selfish like this. The answer is it won't. We'll still have the game at 6:30 Eastern time. We'll still see it. It's not going to change anything for me. I mean, unless at that stage of my life, I'm actually covering the Super Bowl live, which I won't be most likely. So I don't care. Do you care?
No.
The people that want to get there are going to get there. And it's going to be the spectacle either way. And we're going to bitch and moan about the halftime show and the commercials, all of it.
We can have the Beatles play the halftime show. Make everybody.
I don't know. All right, man. Hey, There's only half of them left. All right, man. What's coming up on the Patrol podcast?
It's nothing. It's we got we'll do live draft on YouTube and on Facebook when that comes. But now it's just holding it together and rumors about who's going to retire, who's not going to retire, all that kind of stuff. But you can find us on any of your streaming platforms at Dome Patrol Podcast or on X at Dome Patrol PCast. You can find me at Wesley 13. We can weighing in on all your Tiger Woods driver issues. I'm applying. I can drive him.
I didn't
never have to drive again. I'll take care of it.
I just wanted
to. I can keep a secret. I can pick up condoms at the store. But
all I want to say is that during that fiasco, the only thing I ever tweeted was "Good Lord, this guy." And that's it. Like that was it. I didn't say anything else. I didn't touch the Tiger Woods stuff. Like that's beyond. Like that horse has been dead for a long time. There's no reason to continue to beat it. But I've heard that Alvin Kamara could retire. He also could return. They obviously get Travis Etienne. And then I also heard that Jeremiah Love's on your draft radar. Boy, that's going to be one hell of a backfield.
I think there's if Jeremiah Love falls to 8th, it's not impossible the Saints draft him. And in that case, that would be the end of Alvin Kamara with the Saints.
Yeah. Which would be weird.
I think the Saints go defense at 8th.
Okay.
Where can we find you in your Steelers coverage?
Yeah, you can go to Steel Curtain Network, wherever you get your podcast, steelcurtainnetwork.com. You can also find me at jhartman, HARTMAN_PIT. We'll be talking a lot about golf as we get ready for the Masters, so make sure you're aware of that. But that's it for another episode of The Way We See It. We'll talk next week. Wesley, man, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
See you next week.